Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of the Happier Mom Show. So excited. Today is a big day. In general, it is election day. So I welcome all of you here live. I also welcome all of you that are watching on the replay. Please leave a comment of your name, who you are, where you are tuning in from, whether you're live or on the replay. Also, we're talking today about how to find and own the season that God has you in and how to really thrive. So we're going to talk about a lot of seasons right now. We're in the middle of seasonal changes. Fall is finally hitting Florida. It's been 90-degree weather consistently up to now in the last couple of days. So I'm definitely feeling a seasonal vibe. And we're in the middle of election season. So, which I'm just going to leave that right there. But join me in praying today for our nation, those who are in the United States election, and praying necessarily for our own agenda, but God's agenda to reign, and that regardless of what happens, what the result is that His will prevail in the earth, and that we will have a sense of peace and calm. And so that's what we're praying for. And that's what we are, because Jesus is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and that's who we serve. And so let's go ahead and get on into it. And we're talking about the seasons of motherhood. So like I said, we are in the middle of a seasonal time. And just like the natural seasons that cycle through automatically, there's nothing that we do to make the seasons come to pass. Seasons are just like happening all the time. And so they happen like clockwork. This week was daylight savings time. And so it's just all a part of the natural order of how things are in the earth. Same thing with seasons of motherhood. We are constantly in a season that are constantly in a state of changing. So motherhood has seasons that change with just as much intensity as the natural seasons do. And how we handle those inevitable changes will be the difference between whether or not we enjoy the days or we feel blindsided and overwhelmed by the days that we are in. So I want to invite you as we go through this, as you welcome for joining us. We're talking about the seasons of motherhood. So, and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in. And if you have any questions, I'm going to be answering it at the end of this session. Any questions that you have regarding the seasons of motherhood, how we navigate, how we continue to stay filled with joy and purpose in the season that God has us in. So I want to, and I'm going to keep this one kind of brief. I know this is a big day, but I still wanted to come in as promised and scheduled to talk about what we planned on talking about. So even though it is definitely election day. So the first thing we're going to talk about as it relates to how to thrive in the season of motherhood that we are in. And it's not always just the seasons of motherhood, but just the season of life that God has us in. How do we thrive? The first thing we need to do is really locate where we are first. Drink my coffee. I'm in a tired season right now of dealing with homeschooling, and my daughter is in virtual dance right now, and just there's a lot of things going on, and a new puppy. So I have been bouncing all morning. I actually logged in a few minutes late, and I apologize for that. Just mom life and just constantly navigating through just from one second to the next, and literally never a dull moment until I go to sleep. And we know there's not a dull moment there either. So we just pray, Lord, let them sleep and let them not wake up until they're supposed to wake up. So the first thing we want to do is locate where we are first. So what that means is you need to not only know that you are in a season. Don't matter what the season is, you are in a season. We are always in a season. In the natural seasons in the earth, we are always in a season. So we are either in fall, we are either in the season of spring, winter, summer, whatever it is, we are in a season. And all of the seasons that we are in, naturally speaking, are not seasons that we love. Interestingly enough, If you are a summer lover, chances are you probably can't stand winter. And you start shivering and putting your sweaters on and cranking the heat up because you don't like being cold. If you love winter, then chances are when spring starts to come to a close and the heat of the summer creeps in, you probably can't stand the humidity. And so every season that we are in are not always going to be seasons that we absolutely love. And some seasons we're like, please, Lord, deliver me from the season as quickly as possible. And we're going to get to that. Okay, so stay with me. If you're in a season that you feel like you're in one of those seasons where you're just like, please, Lord, deliver me from the season, stick with me, because I'm gonna let you know how do we handle that when we're in a season that we don't want to be in. But we're either going to be in a season we love, we're going to be in a season that we really do not want to be in, or we might be in a season that we're like, neither here nor there. It's just kind of a mundane. I'm just kind of stuck in the rhythms, the natural rhythms of life. And so all of those seasons are normal, but we are in a season. And so, but what happens is, because we're human beings, and I know this, you might think, duh, knowing your season is common sense. But I'm going to tell you, I was stuck in a place for a long time as I was going into new seasons. I really didn't register for me that I was in a season, or that we're always in a season and that the season was changing. It just didn't always catch up to me that, like, honey, you are in a new season. You're going to have to do things a little bit different than you did before. So when we don't, the first point here on the check mark is to get honest about the season that you're in. So you might be in a very busy season where it is literally all about your kids. Maybe you have older kids. I can't stand it when people misunderstand that the only busy season for a mom is when she's got little ones. When you got big ones and they've got this camp and this program and that, and you need to shuttle them all over all over the place. You're just as busy, if not more busy, than they were when they were little. And there's a lot more responsibility. I shouldn't say more responsibility, but certainly doesn't always get easier the older your kids get. They may be tons more self-sufficient. Most of my kids are very self-sufficient now, but there's a lot they have going on that I am needing to be involved in on some level. Maybe your child is in sports or dance or some other program that you're always having to kind of be at the ready to get them where they need to go. Maybe they travel because they're in a particular gifting or talent. And so our job is to help facilitate them in whatever their call or gift is. So it is a privilege, and it's a beautiful thing when we get to link up with our children to help them, but it doesn't mean that, that we're any less busy. And so you have to know the season that you're in. So if it's a new baby, maybe it's you have your normal amount of children that you've had for a while and you're well adjusted to that, but maybe you've now changed a job. Maybe you're going back to school, or one of your children is in a new program, or your spouse is now traveling and you're now home most of the time, or your husband's in the military, or something of his job has changed. Maybe you're a single mom now, for whatever reason that is. You are in a new season. And so when you enter a new season, there are things that we need to do. And the first thing we got to do is just be honest with ourselves about the season that we're in. And skipping this step, not acknowledging the fact that we're in a season, that a new season that we may not be accustomed to, a new season that's going to require new levels of commitment or sacrifice or awareness. If we skip this, it leads to overwhelm and burnout. And I live there. I know this to absolutely be true. And then we need to also acknowledge our current limitations. Oh, I know that's a bad word when I say limitations. I don't mean limitations in the sense that, honey, you can't get it done and you can't make it happen. But I am saying that we have to be real and we have to be honest about, you know what, I have a time limitation or a physical limitation, or I have whatever it is. I'm not going to be able to do that. And that's a good thing. So when we say limitation, when you're honest with yourself about where you are and what season you're in and the potential limitations that you have to just do everything for everyone all the time, it gives you this opportunity to be honest with other people too. So you're not taking on more than what you can do, more than what God is asking you to do. You're not overwhelming yourself with consistent and constant requests all the time for the things that people are asking you to do. But you can just say, I can't do that. I can't do that. It doesn't make sense for me to do that. And so, and you can have a sense of peace and not stress over needing to be everywhere all the time. So first, identify the season, know that you're in a season, what season you're in, and just say, okay, Lord, give me wisdom in this place. And so the second thing is to give yourself grace in that place, because God is giving you grace in that place. God is absolutely, he's put you there. He's given you that job, or your husband's traveling, whatever the season is. It's going to look different for every single person, every single mother, whatever season you are in. You have to give yourself grace. You have to speak to yourself with kindness and forgiveness and long suffering. Like the Bible talks about long suffering. It is an extended grace. It's like, okay, you keep messing up, you keep missing it, that's okay. I'm with you. Like, you are with yourself. Okay. Because God is with you. He said he will never leave you nor forsake you. We're not worrying about whether or not God is standing with us. We know he is with us. But sometimes we are not standing with ourselves. We're like, girl, you are just a mess. Like, why can't you seem to get it together? You're always messing up. You're always, missing the mark. You're trying to do all the things that you used to do, and now you can't keep up. Well, there's a reason, because you're in a new season. And so first evaluating where you are, and then giving yourself grace. You are not expected to do things the same way you were doing before you entered the season. Okay, I'm going to get into that in just a second. But the first is give yourself grace in the place that you are in. So it's very, very important. Be kind to yourself as you progress to the next season. Ask yourself, girl, what you need. Like, you need to be your own friend. You need to be your own ally, because honestly, people are busy. Your husband might be busy. Your kids are certainly not saying, Mommy, what can I do for you? I mean, it would be a blessing if your kids do that, but most kids are not thinking from that place until they're much older. You need to learn to be your own advocate and look at yourself in the face and say, what do you need today? And then you need to make that happen. Whatever way you need to do it, give yourself permission to do what you need to do for yourself. Because in the end, every mother who puts her needs in front of the needs of her family, because let's be honest, the needs of the family, the needs of the kids, the needs of the community, they're never ending. So if you never put your needs in front of the needs of everyone else in your life, you'll never meet your needs. And when we know that the visual of pouring from an empty cup, you're pouring, 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 pouring. Eventually you're empty. Who's filling you back up? Nobody's filling you back up. Even Christ says, come to me when you are weary and heavy laden, okay? And I will give you rest. He says, come to me. He doesn't say, well, honey, when you're just going, I'm going to just fill you up. I'm just going to fill you up. No, we have to come to the one who fills. And so by doing that, having quiet time, having a consistent prayer time is something that we do. And it's a practice that we need to make sure that we create a priority for. And so too many times we say, I don't have enough time. I don't. And I'm going to talk about this in an upcoming video. So let me know in the comments if you want to hear along those lines. But so often we neglect our quiet time and our self-care. And self-care is almost becoming kind of a cliche, like just a list of things that we do. But self-care is whatever it is that we need to do for ourselves in that moment or in that season, and we have to make it a priority. It is vitally important, because what we do for ourselves is what we ultimately do for our family. When we make sure that we are at our best, then our family is receiving our best. If we're short, we become irritable, burnt out, cranky, overwhelmed, we're snapping, we're yelling. And what family wants a mama who is stressed out, cranky, burnt out all the time? None of them. Nobody. No, there is no kids, no husband, no family that's raising their hand saying, yes, that's what I want. No, they want a mom that's happy. They want a mom that is satisfied, who understands her purpose in the earth and understands her purpose in the home. That is who knows how to care well for herself. And so she says, I gotta go. Sometimes I just tell my kids, and my kids are a little bit older, so everybody, it's gonna look different for everybody. But I say, mom's having a momcation, and I'm going into the room. And so y'all band together and take care of yourself for a little bit. I have a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old and a 5-year-old. So I'm not leaving them unattended, but mom's going for a momcation. And I go, if I can't get out of the house, but you got to do what you got to do to take care of yourself and manage your priorities. And you are a priority. So number 3, make adjustments to match your season. So this is a huge one. Okay, so like think of the decor. People, I am not one of those people, but you may be, or someone who is one of those types of people who, when the seasons turn, like fall or spring or Christmas, that they're running out and getting all of the matching decor that matches that season. And so their front door looks like a pumpkin patch on Instagram. Yeah, I'm not that person. So I literally change my decor like when I'm putting new stuff in the house, and it kind of stays there until I just buy something different. It's just how I am. I don't know. I'm not that way. Nothing wrong with it. I think it's beautiful, but there are people. So when the seasons change, they change the way that things look. They put the decor out, they change their doorway, they put new pictures that say, hey, it's fall, y'all, or, whatever. And so when it's spring, they have all the flowers and they take all the pumpkins down. And so I think it's fun, but I just don't do it myself. But the point is that the decor matches the season. And so we have to have our own decor. And when I say decor for our season, it's like we need to make adjustments that match the season that we're in. You got to make adjustments. When you go from season to season, you have to be keen and aware that you've shifted the season. And then as you're giving yourself grace, you're making the adjustment. So you're saying, you know what, for my devotion time, normally I will break out my Bible and I got my journal and I'm circling stuff and I'm underlining and highlighting and doing all the things. Well, now I've entered an extremely busy season. Maybe it's a new baby, whatever it is. It's not always a new baby, okay? But it's just kind of what we think of. But there's endless numbers of seasons and combinations. And you might just be in a very busy season. And we give ourselves a hard time. So we just end up going, well, all of a sudden I look up and I haven't had any prayer time. I haven't had any time in my word. I haven't done anything. And that's not good, because that's not doing well for us spiritually. And so all we got to do is make an adjustment. So maybe while you're feeding that new baby, or you're driving to that new job at work, or whatever it is, maybe you're just going to listen to your devotion on your phone. So you're getting that, you're hearing the word, you're getting that devotion, you're spending time in prayer. Wherever you are able to make that happen reasonably, it just looks different. So you can't let guilt enter in and say, well, I'm not, God is disappointed with me because now I'm not doing my Bible time like I normally do. Gosh, no, you don't think God knows where you are? You don't think that God knows what you have on your plate to do? He gave you that baby. He may have given you that job or given you that provision, whatever it is, wherever he has you. He is well aware of what is on your plate to do. He is well aware of what it is that you have to manage. And he is going to give you the wisdom to know how to make those adjustments. So don't get stuck in this place where I'm not doing as much as I used to, or I'm not doing it in the same way that I'm used to doing it, because that's just a trap. And so it is a lot of pressure. You don't want that. So allow yourself to make whatever adjustments. If it's decreasing your volunteer hours, if you're volunteering at your kids' school or at your church, and it's just, don't let the expectations and obligations of other people keep you in a place where you're overwhelmed and you can't keep up. You have to learn how to make the adjustment to say, it's not in my season right now. I'm not able to keep up at that pace right now, but maybe later when I enter a new season, then I will make that adjustment when I get to that new season. So making the adjustment for the appropriate season that you're in is something that will give you so much peace, and it will help you to embrace and find the joy in where you are, because every season looks different and it's going to operate differently. And then you'll circle back around. So just like summer and spring come around every single year, you'll find yourself going back through some of the familiar places that you're in, that you'll say, I remember this place. I'm so glad I'm back here again. Whatever that is, just allow God to move you through, but make the adjustments along the way. So if you have to wake up at 4 a.m. in order to get work done, I have been in that particular season for about 5 years now. In order for me to grow my business, there's no way around it. I just can't seem to make it work, trying to do a huge bulk of work in the middle of my day. So with me homeschooling kids, and before last year I was teaching at my kids' school. So I mean, every year has been different. It just seems like, it's funny because when I said, okay, Lord, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to build my business. It literally has changed my life completely, by the way. Changed my life. But when I did it, I thought it was probably going to do it for like 6 months until I could get this thing off the ground. And then, it would just magically open the door to me not having to do that. I've been doing it for about 5 years. I'm good. I'm good now. My body wakes up at 5 a.m. without the alarm clock at all. But, and it's not an issue for me, but definitely has been a sacrifice. But I thank God for it, because whatever adjustment you have to make where you are, it is not always. Some of it's a long season, and sometimes it's not as long of a season, but just He will give you the grace to get through where you are. Okay. And so now 4 is do not rush the process. So wherever God has you, I put here in the corner that God is teaching, are we listening? So He wants to take us and grow us through the seasons we're in, and not just have us go through. We're not trying to go around the season. We're not trying to go over the season or go under the season. We got to go through it. But what the absolute best thing that God wants to do is help us to grow through it. And I don't know about y'all, outside of the seasons of motherhood, the year 2020 has been a season in and of itself. It has been a season of growing. It has been a season of learning. It has been a season of doing things that are way outside of my comfort zone. And it's been a definite season of just trusting and standing on the word and standing and trust in just whatever God says. I know you're going to make it happen. So we can't rush the process. So wherever God has you, whatever it is, ask Him, spend time in prayer every day and say, okay, especially if you're in an undesirable season. So usually when we say we want to grow through the process, it's because we're in an undesirable season. If we're in a fantastic season, we're not, of course we don't want to rush the process, but we want to like get through. We want to put our foot on the gas and get through those undesirable seasons as fast as we can. But God has some things that He wants us to grab hold of while we're in those difficult places. So don't rush it, and ask Him, what is it that you want me to see? What is it that you want me to do? What is it that you want me to understand, to experience, and to practice while I'm in this space? Because He is setting me up for the next season, which I guarantee you, honey, is always going to be better than the season that you're in right now. If you're in a difficult season, there is a better season that you will enjoy so much more than where you are. It always comes back around again. Just like I said, if you're in a winter season and you don't like winter, well, springtime is coming. Summer is coming. The sun is going to have his face shining upon you, and you're going to feel that warmth, and you're going to feel that encouragement. But right now it feels like it's cold and lonely, but it's not going to be like that always. But allow Him to give you what He wants to give you in the season that you're in. I promise you, you will be so much better off to allow your mindset to say, I don't like it. I don't like how I feel here. I don't like the where maybe I'm lonely here. Maybe it's just mundane and boring. Sometimes motherhood can be just absolutely boring. Just boring. Just like there's nothing exciting. I'm just doing the same thing day and now. I don't mean boring as in you're not busy, but just I'm making lunches, I'm going here, going there. So you're always busy. It's hard, but it's not that sense of stimulation or creativity all the time. And you can kind of feel like, ugh. But I promise that whatever season you're in, even if it's a season that you just would rather move on through, God has something for you in this season to set you up for the next one. And the last is to protect your connection. Okay, protect your connection. And so what connection? There's really like two connections. Okay, the first is our connection. Protect, protect, protect. And I said this in the first step. Protect, know that, I mean, in the second step, know the season that you're in and give yourself grace and make sure that you are protecting the connection with your Savior. So whatever quiet time, whatever your study time, just your quiet time that you have with Him, make sure you're protecting it. It is not always going to look the same as it was before. It doesn't. God is not requiring us to do any specific thing to be connected to Him. Let me say that again. God does not expect us to do any particular thing to be connected to Him. I have been in so many seasons where my Bible study time and my prayer time was very sparse, but it was there and it was strong, but it was sparse in a sense of it was not anywhere close to where it was in other seasons. When I was in Bible school and I didn't have any children, honey, I was like it was me and Jesus all the time. And it changed. And I hit a place where I felt very like God is mad at me or disappointed because I'm not doing the same things that I was doing before. But God is not the one that brings condemnation. The enemy brings condemnation and we do for ourselves. So protect your heart connection to Christ. He is there with you. He is there in the trenches with you in that season, trying to get to you what He wants to get to you. Just know that He loves you and that He is with you. Just doing whatever ways you can connect with Him, whatever ways He speaks to your heart, protect that connection. And the second connection is keeping your connection to yourself. So God has a purpose for you. God has things that He needs you to do to care and take care of yourself. Keep those connections. You are a mother, but you are a woman before you became a mother. And God put dreams, He put ambitions, He put ideas in your head before you became a mother. And they are going to stay with you while you're raising babies and long after those kids leave the nest and do their thing. He has put those things in. All He's saying, you might not be in a season where you're able to do all of those things. He may have you in a season where it's like, just stay right here and just do just this one thing. You don't need to stress yourself out doing a bunch of stuff, but protect it. Protect it. Keep it close. Pray about it, journal about it, learn about it, read about it. Just stay connected to it because that gives you that sense of purpose. And do not get caught up in a place of comparison about what this mom is doing versus what this mom is doing, and how she's looking and she's doing this and everyone over here is doing that. Just stay focused. Keep your eyes on I was reading something this morning and they were I can't remember what it was, but keep your eyes on your paper. Don't look at what everyone else is doing. God has something in store for you to do and He's going to bring it to pass. So let me go ahead and dive into the Q&A time. So I have a couple questions. So let me just make sure somebody has not put any comments. I don't see any yet. I had some earlier questions that I already have ready to go, and I'm going to go ahead and answer those live. So if you do have a question and you're here with me, please put in a comment and I will go ahead and answer that right now. So, and next I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up. Take this off. So, and a lot of people, I'd be happy to, if you're on my email list, want to remain anonymous. So I don't always have people's names when they're asking the question. But I have one question that says, what if I feel like I'm in more than one season at the same time? I have a teenage son and a 2-year-old, and it's hard to manage both because those are such different seasons. So that is a great question. I am in that season myself. So I have a 14-and-a-half-year-old, I have an 11-year-old and a 5-year-old and a brand new baby dog. If you've been watching with me the last few episodes. So no, it was not my idea to get a baby dog. It was my family's idea. And so it is a lot of work. And so it's not exactly like having a baby, but there's a lot of similarities. So I'm not going to, make the new mom who is breastfeeding and bottle changing and staying up all night say that, by any means compare a new dog with a new baby. New dog is definitely easier, but it's so definitely a lot of similarities to it. So I'm very busy and I have, a toddler that I'm virtually teaching kindergarten, and then I have my high schooler and then I have middle schooler. So I'm in a lot of different seasons. And my oldest is in a pre-professional dance program, so she homeschools at home in the evening. She does that all day. The last 2 weekends, she was doing shows back to back, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, next week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we were just, all the parents were just kind of circling the parking lot, waiting for them to get finished, pick them up, drop them off, take them on a break, pick them up, drop them back off. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And then having to come home and deal with your younger ones, not deal with them, but, make sure that you make time for them. When you are in what you feel like is multiple seasons, you have to lean on the grace of God. He knew that you would have these children at these different ages. He knew that you would have the different obligations or different ambitions and plans to for work or whatever it is that you have in your life. He's given you the grace to do it. There is a grace. There's a grace for things that people do in the workplace. And then, I don't know if y'all have ever heard the phrase, honey, the grace has lifted. Well, here's one thing that doesn't lift. The grace for mothers and motherhood does not lift. God knows that you will need his grace to get through every single day and every single season of raising those babies. And that grace doesn't lift. It ain't lifting off you even for a second. He is with you. He is giving you the provision. He is giving you the wisdom that you need to take those kids all the way to the finish line and do everything it is that is needed for them. So my thing is my answer to that is just listen, lean on his grace, listen to the wisdom that he has, because he will give you creativity to do what you need to do to meet the needs of those children at those various seasons, at different ages and stages, and give yourself the same grace. That was step number 2, right? Giving yourself that amount of grace as you go through that. So it's tough, but hang in there. It does get better. Excuse me. Question number 2, how do I stop feeling torn and guilty when I believe I need to be doing one thing, but my mind is telling me it's not important, but I know that it is? So I think what you're probably saying with this question is something that I used to deal with when my kids were younger, which is saying, let's just say you're raising your kids and, they say like you should sleep when the baby sleeps, or try to clean and get stuff done when the baby's doing that. But then you also have other stuff like, work that you have to do or whatever. Oftentimes your mind will tell you to do the thing that you place the most value on. And so your mind will feel a bit torn, as you put, torn and guilty, because you feel like, let's say housework, well, maybe housework doesn't have that much of a value on it. And so you're torn because you're like, well, I need to be doing this. I need to be working on this work that I do, or maybe building this business that I had before I had a baby, and I'm always feeling torn. So now I feel bad. I used to feel, in specifically my example, and I'm hope it lines up with your question, but I used to have my little ones, and then I was doing my work on my laptop while they were playing, and then when they would sleep, I needed to do housework and do laundry and cook, and then I would just feel, for whatever reason, I felt guilty for doing that. I felt guilty for folding the laundry. I felt guilty because I felt, for whatever reason, that what was more important was the work I was doing. It took me a long time to figure out that is just as valuable. That is extremely important. So whatever it is that you believe, you're torn, but you believe it's important, but you feel guilty, do what you believe is important to do. Do what you believe in your heart. And then that guilt that's not a part of you. That's either what society has told you is, you're doing something that's not important, or maybe someone along the way has told you, or you've picked up something where someone has told you, or you've picked up a belief that whatever you believe is important isn't important. And then now you feel guilty for it. You in your heart, if you've said it's important, then it's important. Make time to do it. Don't feel guilty. That is not for you to walk around. You got enough stuff as a mother to deal with. The last thing in the world you need to do is be carrying guilt around. And so we got to learn to be kind to each other, be tolerant of our mistakes, and be welcoming of the fact that we are doing, as they say, the hardest job on the planet. So let's do it, but let's do it with grace, and let's do it with love and kindness towards ourselves. And when we do that, then we're now able to be more love and have kindness to our family, to our spouse, to those that we are called to serve. So when we're at our best, they get our best. So let me just make sure, see any extra comments. So I do not. So I have had the best time hanging out with you guys. So again, those who are on the replay, please post your questions, post your comments. I will be responding to those even after the broadcast has aired. So I welcome those who have showed live as well as those on the broadcast. And I will be back again next week here on Facebook and YouTube at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a whole new topic. If you have a topic that you want me to air next week, drop it in the comments below and let me know. And if I get enough comments along those lines, I'll absolutely do that. So thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Have an awesome, amazing week. Bye.